everybody, welcome in. It's Paint with Josh. Nice to see you back in the studio. I'm going to do a literally every single step tutorial for you so you know how to do every single thing. We're going to take our Bob Ross liquid white and dip about a 1/4 inch into the bristles. Because we've got a 16 by 20 inch canvas, going to take about half the paint on one stripe, about half the paint on the other stripe, just spread it out across the canvas. Yeah! Then you got to check in. Let me know where you're watching from as we're spreading around all of this paint. Man, what a day today. Been an awesome day. I was actually scrolling through, it's kind of funny, I was scrolling through YouTube trying to support, my fellow creators, and came across a video that talked about how a 30-minute painting is not a flex, not the flex that you might think. And it kind of made me think that maybe we're talking about me. And if you haven't seen the video, that's okay. You're in the vast majority of the human populace if you haven't seen this thing. So don't worry. Just trying to show some support. And then I felt that just a little sting when they felt like they were talking about me, man. So that's okay. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to give any extra views anymore just by mentioning who it was. But if you have seen it, you're in a very, very, very small group of people. So let's get back to our canvas. We've got our liquid white across the entire thing. And I'll show you just how to test it and make sure that we've got just enough, right? All over our canvas. We should have equal parts across the entire thing, right? So, very funny. I thought I'd make you guys laugh just by telling you that little story. So we're going to go through our colors today. We'll probably need just a little bit of our ultramarine blue. You guys know we love that ultramarine blue from Mead. That is a gorgeous color. They send us these paints and use them all the time. They're fabulous. So check in. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you saw that video. You're in a very small group of people. But in any case, we're going to take our blue. We're going to use our crimson, our black, our sap green, our yellow ochre, maybe some of our Van Dyke brown, maybe a touch of purple. It depends on how crazy we want to get, right? So let's get out here straight with our liquid white onto our brush. We already did our canvas. We've got our ultramarine blue, and let's start dropping it onto our white canvas, right? Now the liquid white that's on the canvas will help kind of blend your color, and so you don't have to do as much work mixing it on your palette prior to putting it onto the canvas, right? We don't have to do so much, because that liquid white's very helpful in that instance, right? We're gonna leave a nice little white area for our clouds, because I get the question all the time, Josh, how do you keep your sky or your clouds so bright? Mine tend to turn a little bit more bluey when I'm doing my scene. We're gonna add a little bit of our dioxazine purple, and then I'll tell you just how we leave an empty space, and therefore there's less paint on the canvas in that area. A little bit of our touch of our black, a little midnight black over that purple, over the blue, and then we'll have this gorgeous dark side of our sky, pretty little bright side of our sky, and all we need to do is dab it off on a paper towel. You don't even really have to go into the cleaner. As long as you can smash it on a paper towel real good and get off the majority of that paint, it'll be just fine. See that? Much less paint. We won't be dropping anything onto the canvas. We're just going to be blending the stuff that's here. Now that nice white area that we were talking about is going to disappear, and that's perfectly fine. We know in our heads that there is less paint in that area of the canvas than there is everywhere else because we didn't put anything there to start, right? That means that anything we put over this area will stay brighter and not have to mix in with so much of those darker colors. That is why your clouds are changing into whatever color your sky is, because you're not leaving that light space out there, right? Now we're gonna grab a big old fan brush, doesn't matter what size, literally just a fan brush, grab it up, get a lot of our white paint onto there, and then let's come out here, just launch in. I mean, you could even go across that area, you could dip down and save some of it above, you could drop down beneath it and have this whole back area just be lighter than everywhere else. And it may look like a cool little cloud by the time that we get done, you know what I mean? All up to however we want it to be every time that we do it. If we want to pop something up here or over there or wherever and just literally scrub it on into the canvas is all you have to do. You just want a little bit of paint randomly out there, right? So there's bright areas, there's dark areas already. That means we don't have to do too much. And as long as we can control our pressure, then we should be okay. And even with that same big old brush, as long as we dab it off on a paper towel, we can get up here and we can start very lightly, kind of spinning it up like we're stirring up our chocolate milk, right? I don't know about you guys, I use a fork. I think the prongs of the fork help stir the chocolate syrup up a little bit better. That's just me and my own craziness, right? I don't know about you guys. And again, we're not using the full brush. If I was using the full brush, I would have to move my arm, right? We're just out here using the corner of the brush, grabbing a little bit of that paint on the top, pushing harder along the bottom, and allowing it to blend in and never staying in one place for too long. If you stay in one place for too long, it's all going to blend out and be exactly the same. Now let me ask you guys a question. I did something earlier, right? It's the very first time I ever practiced something. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we do some cattail little things like these guys. I was just working on these two things, didn't really care what everything else looked like. But maybe we do some cattail bushes like this. And if that's the case, we have to leave a very far away, indistinct ocean. Or we do some big crashing waves up in the front. So what do you guys think? You want to do some big crashing waves, or should we do some far away, further away oceans so we can focus more on the plants and have more room for the plants in the front, right? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. We got waves. They almost sound like the Joker. You know how often I get that? That is the most commented comment on any of my videos, anytime, right? Want to see plants in the front? Plants, waves, crashing waves, far away, big waves, small waves. Seems like none of you guys can decide on what we want to see today. So I'm going to make a decision. Okay, we're going to come out here. I'm going to grab again a little bit of our blue, and you can see we're not grabbing the whole pile way up here. Almost kind of bending the bristles, grabbing the front, and then extending them down, pulling that paint down like that. Then you can flip the brush, get into that lower area of paint where it's not so heavy, right? And you're only ever gripping the front by a little bit, pulling it down. Now, we don't need too much of either color. We've got all three of our dark colors right here, right? All on the brush, all at once. And we have to do the hardest thing possible, just painting a straight line or a level horizon, just free-handedly. And this is when I need your guys' help. Is that a level horizon back there? Being darker at the back and getting lighter and lighter and lighter at the front, as we all know the water does. That looks pretty level to me, except we gotta come up a little higher. Always seems like every time I think it's level, the right side needs to come up a little bit, just because I paint over here on the left side. Now, because I've dumped off all my color and there's less paint on the brush now, I can go with less pressure and have that lighter area in the front of our little waves back there. Oh, we don't want it to get too big, because then we're gonna run out of room for our little plants and stuff, right? So, all you need is that darkness back there. Now, how dark does it need to be? That's totally up to you. If you want it to be darker, then we can go back in with more colors and attempt it again, right? The darker it is, it's almost like the further away the back ocean is gonna be, because you can never really see all the way to the back horizon. And remember, you'll never see waves or white all the way at the back of the horizon, because the waves don't crash out there. They have to wait until they come into the land before they crash. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Just fabulous, you guys. Again, every time I think it's straight, I gotta bring up the right side. Okay, now we're good. Now we're gonna come back in here with our titanium white paint and our little palette tool. We're gonna scrape up a little bit, and we're gonna make a very far away, very shallow U shape, okay? Now, the very first time you touch the canvas, you're probably going to dump off the most amount of paint. Our first contact point's gonna be the heaviest, right? So we dump off all that excess stuff. So if we hit it in the front, in the middle, we kind of start scooting further and further and further away, so higher up. All right, we're going up this way, a very slight angle. We can take the same paint. Let's go up this way, very, very, very slight angle, and we don't even have to paint it all the way across. That's the best part, right? All depends on what you want to see. Now, if you're gonna have very small little pitter-pattery waves, then we're just gonna do that a couple times, right? If we want to see some big old monster crashers, then you're watching the wrong video. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna come back here and make a small monster crashing wave, okay? So off of the edge of this guy, and remember, only in the center, we're gonna kind of pull down, but we're going in this circular motion and only touching right there. And then we're only pulling it down and down and down. So you get that water that's rotating over. We're not even using very much more paint than what it actually is already up there from our little scrapey line, okay? Seriously, you don't need that much more. We'll get a little bit of our liquid white, because the liquid white is the activator, man. It's what helps it look more like water. And we need a little bit of liquid white and a little bit of titanium white onto our brush. And let's say we started to pop in little things, come down, right? Trying not to get too much further out of our darker area, and remembering that this paint is going to grow like the dickens as soon as we start to hit it and brush it. It's going to extend outward, right? So don't make it too big, otherwise it's going to want to grow too far. Now we'll get up there again, even with our big old 2-inch brush that's got all this paint on it. As long as we dab it off on a paper towel, then it's not going to deposit much more paint onto our canvas, okay? Get up here very, very lightly, like 3 swipes, and then move. Do not stay there and over mix this area. I'm telling you, you're not gonna like it. No one else but you are not gonna like that, okay? If you sit there and over mix that spot. Now we do need a very small little bit of brightness right up underneath the eye of our wave, right? Kind of making it a little transparent out there. And then this guy would eventually, right, he'll eventually creep down lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, but we're gonna miss it with all of our little plant that we're gonna put in there. So, making this dude line up with the bottom is gonna be our next little step, okay? So we'll take our liquid white, titanium white, same paint that we used to make the splash of the wave, so it's about a 50-50 mix. We'll come out here, and we know we're gonna start up a little bit higher, right, cutting into our wave, and then dipping down and dipping down and dipping down. Now we know we can't just leave it right there, because the wave doesn't just come down and crash onto its own lip. There's always a bit of area, or a bit of room in between. So if we just keep scraping and scraping and moving the paint around and extending it a little bit, right? Extend it down, extend it over and over and over. How many little things can you make, right? The more little details that you make out there, the closer it's gonna bring it. And remember, we don't wanna bring it too close because we want it to look far away for our little bushes to stand out, okay? So we'll come down a little bit further over here, remembering that we're gonna cover this whole thing with this grassy cattail of a bush. So we don't even need to come down too much further than that, okay? We're gonna switch back to our titanium white that doesn't have as much liquid white in it. We're going to start screening up this little guy, just letting it fall off in little patches, little things, remembering that we have to go down the runway and back, right? You do not want to drop too much paint right here. You don't want to have too many details right here because our next little section is not going to stand out as much if we have too many details back here. So you kind of scrape it, work it in more with the paint, push it away further, right? Go back to that liquidy white paint. If you want more of this, you have to mix it, your liquid white and your titanium white, so it's got a little chunk, but it's a little watery. And that is looking really cool. Now, let's take a little bit more of our liquid white. Okay, we're gonna pull it over here. So let's say we got 90% liquid white right here. We're gonna make a pile containing 90% liquid white, 10% of our titanium white is what I need. You have to mix those two together right there. Right, boom, 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 boom. That way, it's kind of like mixing up your gravy when you have really watery gravy, and then you throw some extra gravy mix in there and help it thicken up a little bit. And that's what the titanium white does to the liquid white. We're gonna take this guy right here, and in fact, you know, before we even do that, save that paint right there. Let's get down, even with that bluish color onto our brush, go into our dark Van Dyke brown paint, the darkest of the browns. And let's remember, we're gonna touch it very lightly because we don't wanna drop off too much. If we drop off too much, we're gonna be in trouble. Okay, come over here, over there, very light, getting closer, but not letting them touch, right? If the color comes up and touches already, then we know it's gonna be too dark brown, okay? Now again, dab off all the color off of that brush, so smack it hard on a paper towel. You cannot hurt these brushes. Literally, just beat it, smush it on that paper towel nice and good, my friend. Up there and get that little bristle out of there. Now we're going to mix the paint back and forth. So hard strokes back and forth, across, and then up into that blue area. We start reducing our pressure, right, and blending it. So we're trying to retain that very light bit of blue area in the front. That's going to be where our water retraction area is, okay? Again, trying to keep it far away. Now you could literally, if you make that wave any bit bigger, it's going to be too close, okay? It's almost already too close, which is what happens with these waves. You start making them and they start looking cool, and you're like, oh man, I want to make that cooler and bigger and more, this, that, and the other, right? So what we're gonna do is now that we have our sandy brown down here, we're gonna take that liquidy white, titanium white mix, and we're gonna pull it down in front of our wave. And what this does is give us that glossy, wet, shiny area, shiny in the front of our watery waves, where the water is very, very, very thin, very small, you know what I mean? You can walk out there, the sand's all dense and compacted, and it's just kind of reflecting our brighter sky, which is giving it this shininess to it, right? And that's that liquid white paint with the titanium white in a 90-10 mix, okay? Versus the 50-50 mix, which is up here, We got a 90-10 mix. We're gonna pull down very lightly, trying not to make it disappear completely, right? Almost turns it into a little waterfall. Then we'll go very softly back and forth, so you have that shininess to it. It's wet, it's crazy, it's very slick over there. Then you can come back in with your liquid white, right on the front, barely any titanium white in this instance. And you can trap in that wet water behind your little sea foamy line, okay? And then anything you want back here. You want to do like a, we had the request one time to do like a little crisscross. You know, the waves come in and they crisscross back there. So you can kind of pull it down in one way, okay? Turn our angle, go back the other way, crisscross it in a little X pattern, just like it happens out there in nature. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. I've seen it with my own eyes. Now we're gonna come back in. We're gonna take any amount of this white paint and bring it down over our dark, shadowy area, which isn't very dark, right? It's not a lot of darkness out there. The only thing we're really focusing on is trying to keep these two bits of very bright paint separated. So either the front has to be really white in comparison to the rest, or you have to have this very small, darker shadow underneath. And then that way, it's going to project that it's got this little own shadow of itself and its gorgeousness out there. Fabulous. Look at that, you guys. Oh, it's excellent. Okay, now we're going to do something here that we've only tested on a very small canvas before. Wilson! That's right, my friends. Now, also, if you wanted it any brighter along the top, remember to use your titanium white and just a little bit. And then the more that you mix it, the more it's going to disappear and go away. And then never pull down like an elevator, right? You're always at least rotating it over to 6:30, about 7 o'clock versus straight down. Don't pull it straight down, okay? Now we're gonna do these crazy old bushy little things. I could finish the wave, finish it on this side, finish the thing, sprinkle it in, and that would be a finished painting without even having any bushes or any foreground or anything in it. God, it's so cool. So cool. Are you doing this in the night? How long have you been waiting? 17 minutes to hear me say in the night. Fabulous, guys. Literally, leave it a mess, right? We don't want it to be too crazy. Okay, here we go. We're gonna take a big step right here. A lot of crimson, a lot of black, a lot of blue, a lot of green, like 3 times the amount of green versus all the other colors. And that way, hopefully, right, we'll have this very deep, dark, like army green color that is going to provide us with a dark, shadowy base to our grassy little deals, right? So, if you've been wondering how to paint like little grassy oat, sea oat, cattail, whatever the heck's, then that's what we're gonna focus on today. But we need a lot of this darkness, right? So, grab up that dark paint. We're gonna take our Paint with Josh fan brush, only because it makes the sharpest of lines. You guys already know that. If you have the Paint with Josh fan brush, you would already know. And we're gonna see what it looks like. Again, so I'm wiggling it down, turning it, wiggling it down. So we got the paint. There's a big old chunk of skin on there, but I don't care. We got our paint out here, right? And we need to either start from above or start from below. And remember that as soon as you interact with any of this white paint, boy oh boy, you may not like it. You know what? Let's go on this guy first. Just do it, Josh. Here we go. Oh, it hurts my heart. Oh, it just hurts my heart to throw all of this darkness in there, you guys. But you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Down like that. All right, we're gonna fill up this monster, and then you can even start going up from the bottom, filling in little places, leaving little draggy areas. This is literally what I was doing on those ones where I was practicing earlier. All right, we're kind of trying to show the wind blowing from a certain direction. And then we're gonna go back and highlight them anyway. But we wanna have a bit of dark, just in a couple minutes. Seriously, how long does it take us to do these little things out here in just a few minutes? Now remember, that's not look at how sharp that fan brush is, you guys. If you don't have the Paint with Josh fan brushes, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Like, what are you doing? Get the Paint with Josh fan brushes, especially when they come out in, when are they coming out? Probably February, I would imagine. Now we're gonna switch to the smallest Paint with Josh fan brush that is in existence, right? And on some of these guys where there's a little bit heavier in the paint, you can kind of grab that guy and flip it a little bit. Little flip, pop a little bit of a little thing out there, a little bit of puff, right? And none of them have to be the same. That's the best part about it. Oh, you guys, isn't that fabulous? Now you're looking at the bottom going, yeah, but what the heck, bruh? Well, I'm gonna come down here, pull it off from either side, and pull it up this way, and slide all that color down that way. You can push all your beachy sand back, right? Taking all that color, sliding it back so our shadows don't go too far. Oh, isn't it fabulous? Now, we're gonna have to do it on a much bigger scale for this guy. And let me show you the finishing touch on that little friend right there, okay? We gotta have at least a couple little doers that come spiking out of there, right? So if we're using our little liner brush, we can launch in little bits, little things that are thinner, that are sharper than what our fan brush was. Just push them out there, throw them out. You have to make them project up into the sky. You want them to be like they're blowing in the wind, right? So they can't really all be going in one direction. They're all blowing that way. Woo! Isn't it fabulous? Okay, now let's get in. Excuse me. We're gonna get out here. And on this one, we're gonna roll through. I dipped in just the corner of my brush, just the tiniest bit into our paint thinner, just so it would make this slide a little bit easier. But with that dark green color, look at all those differences, just as it mixes with the liquid white. We didn't have to highlight anything. We didn't have to do anything. Isn't that gorgeous? We're gonna come down in here and same thing, make them bend. This guy's gonna live way down here, so he's gotta be big, dude. He's gotta be a monster. Bring it down, man. Forget about everything that's back there. Don't worry about it, man. Don't do anything with it. Don't feel like you gotta do anything. Literally, we're just gonna cover the dang thing. That's the reason that we're out here. That's why we didn't do too much off to the side, so that we could cover it. Dragging it up, dragging it down, putting little things in little places. Where do you want them to be? Right? Out there. We're just filling it because we know we're going to extend it. We're going to make it longer with our little streaks that come out, right? So just drag it up there. Let it blend. Look at all those color changes that we're getting in there. All those little differences and different bits and things and such. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Throw it out that way. Out here, out there. We got an extra darker color back on the shadowy side. Yeah! Isn't that fantastic? Like literally, how easy do you want me to make it for you? So we whip them down and we start throwing things out here, right? Little bits, little guys, bang, back in there. How tall can you make yours? How far do they go? Totally up to you guys. Right? Pop these little doers out down here just so we have something to grab onto. Because if we can grip it lower and slide it out down this way, right? So we're sitting a little bit lower than we were before. Blend out this area and then, right? I'm going to add some more darkness into that little spot. There we go. There. Isn't that fabulous, guys? Seriously. How much easier do you want me to make it? Right now, if you're getting too much like darkness or green in your sand, you can come back and turn it into a Florida beach right there just by piping in a bit of white, right? The more white that we put into that sand, the more Florida, man, that we're going to be. Look at that, dude. Tell me that's not the coolest thing you've ever seen. Just in a few minutes, literally 24 minutes, guys. Do I have to? It's not a brag, by the way, but you know, experience, with experience comes speed, my dude. So, in 24 minutes, seriously, do you want anything cooler than that in 24 minutes? Because if you do, go see if anyone else can launch out something that cool and that easily understandable in 24 minutes. Throw out a couple of these little sticks, right? All different sizes, all different lengths, all different bits of crazy, all sorts of everything, you guys. Ah, that's not just the most fabulous thing. Get a whole big bit of our puff from our little guy, right? Because he's going to be a little closer to us, so we should see a little bit more. There we go. A bit more action, a little bit more breaky thing in his stuff because he's just a tad closer. Isn't that oh, isn't that cool? Woo! I'm gonna grab that guy right there too. That is fantastic. Only because he's got a little bit of excess paint. Pull him across his other little friend. Dudes, is that not the easiest way you've ever seen to do these little grassy bits? Tell me it's not in 25 minutes. And we weren't even trying to rush. That's just the speed that comes with experience, my friends. Fantastic. Oh my Lord. All right, now let's get in here. We're gonna do our famous Paint with Josh sand technique, okay? The most sandiest looking sand that you'll ever sand is about to come right now. So we're gonna take our odorless mineral spirits and our Paint with Josh black mix, or your straight up midnight black from your Bob Ross. I'm gonna tap it onto the blade and then judge its wetness and go, how wet is that? Is it severely wet where there's not a lot of color? Is it not really wet? Is my brush severely soaked? Because we can't have either of those things happening. Wipe off our brush, come back in here and start speckling on down at the bottom first, because you want to have your bigger specks down here at the base, and then let them get further and further and further away as we go, right? Getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If you happen to get a couple little big ones back there, it's fine. They'll look like little pebbles or whatever. You don't want to do too many, only because we're going to do another color. We're going to go into our Van Dyke brown with our odorless mineral spirits. Again, making the paint very wet. It's not wet enough to drip, but it's very wet, so that when we tap it along the edge, it's very watery, like watercolor now, right? We know it's the oil paint mixed with the odorless mineral spirits. We don't have too many specks yet, okay? So now we're going to come in, we're going to start specking off our brown, again, along the bottom. Don't stay in the same place. Even if you think it's not coming off, don't just stay and flick in the same place over and over and over again. Please move the brush as soon as you start your flicking. Start the moving, because you don't want to have too many things in too many places. That is looking cool already. And then we get to decide how many bits of dark little specks do you want. And then we'll go put on the final touch. The final done touchery. There we go, a couple of bits. Need a couple more little black specks on there. There we go. There. Okay, cool. Now, the final touch that we gotta go to is our liquid white. So we wipe off our brush. There's no odorless mineral spirits. It's just pure liquid white onto our fan brush, onto the edge of our palette tool. Now, we can come back in here first and start speckling on a couple little bits of brightness, right? We don't want them to get too close. We don't want them to be too big or too noticeable, because the thing is very far away, right? So if we can see too many little watery specks, that's gonna bring it too close to us, okay? So we'll take our liquid white, dab it onto the edge, and then we've done our little spray back here, right? Little bits. We're gonna back away. We're gonna start speckling in very softly, until you start seeing all these little white little bits start coming out, right? And then you can judge how many you want to do. I feel like the more little white specks that we have, the more like sand it starts to look. But you might feel differently. Right? So get out there and start flicking in these little dudes. Flick it, flick it, flick it, flick it, flick it. Always on the move, never stagnant, never staying in one place. Guys, look at that for a little seascape, a little cattails, unlike anything you've ever seen. My goodness, at least from me anyway. So, you guys start coming up with a title for this painting right here. Right? Let me know what you want to call this guy. And then, if you grab it during the live show, you get to title it. So, think about that right there. Right? Very cool. This is my perspective, guys. I love being down, like squatting down to take the picture right close to the sand. My goodness, the sea oats, wind in the bush. I like that for a title. Hit me with your titles, guys. I'm going to clean off like 6 brushes real quick. Doesn't take me very long. So keep hitting me with your titles. I want to see what you got to say out there. What do you think this one should be called? Let us know in the comments now. And then, if it does happen to get grabbed during the live show by anybody out there watching, they will get to title the painting and not me, right? So hopefully that's my goal, is we try to get someone to get the painting, so then they have to be the end-all be-all about what to name said painting. Right? I never like to choose, because you guys all have such great title suggestions, and it's hard to just pick one. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll combine 2 of them together. If I see 2 really cool ones, we combine 2 of the titles together. So type in your title suggestion. What do you think this one should be called? I'm gonna throw in the old bird signature. Actually, if we put them up higher, we can make them closer and bigger. Just go caw, flying through in the night. Oh, dudes, that is fantastic. My Lord. So, you guys come up with a title. If you grab it during the show, you get to pick the title, and then I'll flip it around, and we'll name the sucker whatever you wanted to call it. But you got to get it during the live show. That's the kicker, man. That's the kicker. So, get it during the show, name it, and that way I don't have to, because I get so, I feel like I'm choosing between, you know, my favorite child or my favorite children when all you guys have all these great titles and I just have to pick one. That's not fair. So somebody go grab this thing. That way I won't have to choose it. And we can let someone else do it. Okay. Wash off this little brush. You guys hit me with the titles. And if it doesn't find a new home, that's okay. I'll choose one of your guys' awesome titles. And then we'll pin your comment. You can be at the top for a while. So let us know what you want to be, what you want to say, what you want to call this painting. Tell me now. There. Now, we've only got one show this evening, guys and gals and painting pals, because we got to go do volleyball practice. I'm the coach of my daughter's volleyball team. Not the best coach, since we are, in fact, 0-7. That's our record, 0-7, Coach K. Woo, just lighting up the court, man, with my coaching abilities. The girls are getting so much better, though. They're improving, so that's good. But yeah, 0-7 hurts my heart, seriously. Seriously hurts my heart. Low tide, seagrass trail, I like that. Peaceful serenity, wind in the waves. Let's see. Boom, ba boom. She shells by the seashore. We got Dream, Beach, Miss, Sea Breeze, Life's a Beach. That's a great title. That's a great Bird's Way Home. Like that. Like it, like it, like it. Sea Breeze, Atlantic. Definitely Atlantic over Pacific. For sure on this little guy, right? Definitely. So let's keep in mind which paper towels we wipe our nose with and which paper towels we wipe the paint with, and not confuse them, because you'll end up with paint all over your nose. Just like I did earlier in class. I was teaching a class. I had purple paint right here on my glove, but I couldn't see it because it was so dark. And I went to like scratch the bridge of my nose, and it's just all purple up and down my nose. For the whole class, no one told me till the end. Sat there and laughed. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so you guys are looking awesome. Man, this one looks cool. Life on the beach. I like that. See through the weeds. I like that one too. Dude, the perspective on this one is just amazing. Just nice and low and awesome. Ocean majesty. Tranquility at the ocean. Salty tears. Whispers of the shore, guys. I think we're going to go with Whispers of the Shore, because that is a fantastic title. Let me know what you guys think about these little sea bushes as well when you're trying them at home and doing your versions of this painting, whether or not you like them this way or you like them with the bushy brush and much more textured, right? We paint them in two different places on the beach, but let me know which one you like more as you're following along. And we have proven that literally everyone on Earth is watching Paint with Josh, because every time we do something, boy oh boy, does everybody start copying. And not you guys, right? You guys that are following along with the videos, you're supposed to copy what I'm putting up here. It's just funny though, if you watch all the competition, quote unquote, the things that they're doing now because of what we do just literally proves that every single person, even from the shadows, is watching, from the shadow realm. They won't admit that they're watching, but it shows in their work, right? It shows in their work. So we're gonna call this one Whispers of the, Whispers of the what? What was it? Oh, guys, put it back up on TikTok, please. I missed it. Whispers of the, it's not Whispers of the Pacific, because this is the Atlantic. So what was it? I forget what it was now. Whispers of the Waves? Somebody? Anyone out there remember what I said? Is anybody remember? Whispers of the Shore. That's what it was. So this one was number 2156. That's a 6 right there. And we're calling it Whispers. Don't watch me write. Wait, what was it? I'm so bad at this. Okay, cool. Whispers of the shore. Watch me paint. Don't watch me spell. I'm not a good spellman. Painted on 11/21/2021. What are you talking about? Spellman? You never heard of spellman? Fireman, policeman, longshoreman, spellman. Stop me when I'm getting one wrong, please. Can't because I'm getting too many right. That's right. You never heard of spellman, please. Now, let's get over here. Flip this guy around. It came out amazing, you guys. Absolutely fabulous. I love it from the bottom of these bushes. That's how much I love it. So, you guys have been amazing. I can't wait to see your versions. Awesome. Yes, Ivo Rappa over there on the book. You can, if you go to paintwithjosh.com, you can grab this one. Or pwj.info, take it to the same place. But you can grab this one, it's available up there. Very first thing you're gonna see, remember there's no photo of this paint because we haven't finished it yet, so it's just a thumbnail right on the homepage, and you can grab it if you like it. But just to remind everyone, speed comes with practice, guys, and experience, right? So even though we didn't rush, 37-minute painting came out better than anyone else could do in 37 minutes. And I love you guys, and I can't wait to see your version of this tutorial, okay? So be sure to send it in to me on Facebook at Official Paint with Josh, all one word, Official Paint with Josh, because there's too many fake ones out there. Or you can send it to me on the IG, the Instagram, which is at Paint with Josh K. It's the same over on TikTok, at Paint with Josh K. And then my YouTube is at Paint with Josh. And you can find all sorts of tutorials, more than 2,800 videos over there, more than 3,500 videos over on TikTok, tons and tons and tons of videos everywhere. So, can't wait to see your guys' version. Be well, take care, and, don't talk crap about people. It's not a good look. So, until I see you guys again next time, take care. That's not good. And my goodness. Goodness gracious, guys.